Hi everyone, it's Miss Brenner. Today we are going to be talking about figurative language. This is part 2 in our notes about figurative language. We are going to be covering idioms, hyperbole, oxymoron, assonance, and onomatopoeia in today's notes. Let's start off with a review of what figurative language is, technically. Figurative language occurs when an author uses a word or phrase that does not have its normal everyday literal meaning. So, authors tend to use figurative language to make their work more interesting or dramatic than literal language which simply states facts. We're going to start off part 2 of our notes by talking about idiom. An idiom is a common phrase which means something different from its literal meaning, but is understood because of its popular use. Some examples of idioms would be giving the cold shoulder, which means to ignore someone. It does not mean that you are literally putting ice on their shoulder. I'm all ears, which means you have my full attention, not that you are covered in ears that have somehow been stuck onto your body. It costs an arm and a leg, meaning it is very expensive, not that they're literally going to rip your arms and legs off your body to pay for something. So idioms are figurative examples that have an alternate meaning. So now we are going to watch an idiom video. This video is going to be linked on Schoology with a YouTube link. What I ask is that you record 3 examples of idioms from the video in your personal notes that you should be taking either on paper or in a Google Doc, or you could be using our pre-made notes that are on Schoology. That is also fine. And to record 3 examples of idioms from the video also in Edpuzzle. Next, we are going to be talking about hyperbole. Hyperbole occurs when an author uses extreme exaggeration to make a point or show emphasis. Alright guys, let's talk about hyperbole examples. This is the worst day of my life. If that is actually true, then luckily, hopefully you'll never experience anything that bad ever again. But most likely it is exaggeration, that you were just having a really, really bad day, and that is understandable. I can run faster than the wind. Odds of that being actually possible is kind of unlikely, unless you are the Flash. Then, by all means. But you are probably exaggerating, just to give emphasis. I waited my entire life for the bus this morning. That is a very long time to wait, so that's unfortunate, but you are probably exaggerating just a teeny weeny bit, and maybe you didn't wait all that long, just so that way you could really make an impact to your listener. Alrighty, let's talk about our video. So for hyperbole, we have a short video to watch. I would like you to record 2 examples of hyperbole from the video, both in your personal notes, whether those are on Schoology, on Google Docs, or on paper, as well as in this Edpuzzle. Next, we are going to talk about oxymoron. An oxymoron occurs when there is a figure of speech that contains contradictory terms in conjunction. Now that sounds really fancy for a definition, but these examples I think will clarify it. Jumbo shrimp, implying that it is both huge and tiny at the same time, would be an oxymoron. Alone together, implying that you can both be with one other person and alone at the same time, would be an oxymoron. Clearly confused, implying that someone is enlightened of their confusion. These are all oxymorons, where 2 words that are opposite of each other when combined have a new meaning. So we are now going to watch a short video on oxymorons. I would like you to record 2 examples of oxymorons in this Edpuzzle as well as in your personal notes, whether that be through Google Docs, on paper, or in Schoology. And then lastly, we are going to be talking, next we're talking about assonance. Assonance occurs when the same vowel, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y sound is in 2 or more words close together. So I do want to point out that we have had a similar literary term prior. Assonance is specifically vowel sounds. So you could have assonance and other forms of figurative language at the same time, but assonance is only for A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y sounding words. So some examples of assonance would be do not go gently into that good night. All of those O sounds repeated. Try to light the fire. So we have that I sound that is being repeated because the Y sounds like an I in try, and light and fire. Alligators ate apples all afternoon. You might remember this one from alliteration. Alliteration and assonance can sometimes overlap, and in this case it does because the beginning sound in each of the words is the same, but it is also a vowel sound. So alligators ate apples all afternoon would be assonance and alliteration. So there is a short video for assonance that we are going to watch on YouTube. I would like you to record one example of assonance from the video that you found to be helpful in supporting your understanding, as well as recording it on your personal notes, whether that be in Google Docs, Schoology, or on a piece of paper. Alright, now lastly, let's talk about onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia might be the hardest one out of all these to spell, but an onomatopoeia occurs when a word describes a sound and actually mimics the sound that it's trying to explain. So let's look at some examples. The popcorn in the microwave went pop, pop. Pop, pop is an onomatopoeia because it is mimicking a sound, but in written language. I listened as the door went click, and I was locked in. Click would be that sound that we are mimicking in written language. Beep, 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 the alarm across the room yelled. So, as you can see with number 3, we can have figurative language overlap. Beep, beep, beep would be our onomatopoeia, but from our last form of figurative language notes, we know that alarm clocks are inanimate objects, therefore they cannot actually yell, which makes this also an example of personification. Alright, we are going to watch a video on onomatopoeias. I would like you to record one example of an onomatopoeia from the video and explain how you know it is an onomatopoeia. Alrighty, make sure to also record that in your personal notes so that way you can use them in the future because we will continuously come back to figurative language. That is everything for our notes for today. I hope you guys all have a happy, wonderful day and stay happy and healthy, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.